We're live.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's April 20th, 2017. We are 10 days away from the code freeze of Backdrop 1.7. And we are going to run through the world of Backdrop CMS, including looks like primarily focused on the product this particular weekly meeting. So updates from the PMC. We have no announcements from the PMC at this time, although there's kind of some exciting news in the pipeline once we get some things worked out internally. That is very exciting. And I'm just going to leave you guys hanging on the edge with excitement as to what the exciting news may be. But that may take us a couple weeks to work out some new facilities for Backdrop, which would be great. Contributed code. Looks like we have some. Are these updated? New contributed projects references. Did it finally get a stable release in this past week?
No, but we're getting closer there. I've just pushed some changes that solve some of the AJAX errors that people were getting. So if the people who are getting the AJAX errors wouldn't mind going and testing again to make sure those are resolved, that would be appreciated.
Oh, so apparently references module. Yeah, okay, references module, the node reference and user reference combined modules. Oh, there was a security update that came out. So the security update that happened last week in the world of Drupal temporarily had the references module marked as unsupported. And then we coordinated with the new maintainers of the references module and have made a new release of that module. So that's great. Yay. Thank you, Contrib team, for helping coordinate and fix that problem, both within Backdrop and within Drupal. Simple access grants module and trigger actions, two new contributed modules that have come out in the past week, which is fantastic. As always, lots of thank yous to everybody that's been working, not just on the core project, but our hundreds of contributed modules that are seeing really regular releases and maintenance. Really appreciate everything that our little community is doing to push forward the Backdrop product or the Backdrop ecosystem. So this meeting, we're going to focus mostly on progress report of Backdrop CMS, the project or product, because code freeze is May 1st, less than 2 weeks away. So first we'll talk about the 1.6 branch, which includes all of the bug fixes that we make as they are needed. The 1.6.4 release, I don't think there's still has been anything substantial that has cropped up. We have been merging minor fixes here and there, and I think we'll continue to just like as needed. If something comes up that would justify a release, then we can make one. But at this point, there's really just small things here and there. So nothing real substantial for 1.6.4, unless anybody has anything else that they want to bring up that's not mentioned in the agenda. But I don't think that there's anything of note. 1.7 is the next minor release of Backdrop, in which we'll be releasing some new features and functionality, and that will be coming out May 15th, 2017. And there's a number of issues in which we have been making some progress in the past week. Redesigning the status report. I'm not actually the best person to give an update on this. Gregory, could maybe you give an update on status report?
Unfortunately, the update is no updates. We had some discussions as to what direction we should take, but I didn't have any time to just work on it. If there's anyone else with more time, then just feel free to pick it up. But yeah, my availability is limited.
Okay. Let's see. The next item that we've gotten here is the Views UI redesign. I'm not sure if this one has seen action in the past week either.
I started that off, and then Wes picked it up and made a new pull request. I gave some feedback there, just tiny things. Should we more questions rather than feedback? Should we have zebra striping or not? That sort of stuff. But I think Wes is busy with other things now, so yeah. I think that both of these issues, the two redesign issues, they need more opinions, and we need to settle on what we should do.
Okay, so both of those need some design feedback that is required. Okay. The next issue that we've got here is the custom, page element blocks that allows you to move things like the page tabs and page title around as though they were blocks. Doc Wilmot did a re-roll of this pull request a little over a week ago and moved it back to needs review. And we got a lot of great feedback from a variety of people. Thank you, everybody, for posting feedback. But it seems that we've uncovered a new problem in which we need some assistance. It sounds like, Jeff, you may have taken a stab at solving this problem. And there's a little bit of back and forth. But I'm having a little bit of trouble just summarizing what the issue is at the moment. Jeff, can you provide any additional comments on the page element blocks issue, 1704?
I can't remember. I think it's the block title options. When you click on the configure block, if you say custom title, it doesn't respect that.
So it looks like it's some issue between, like we have made a special dialog for the page title settings, and then that can conflict with the page title settings that you get within the block.
Yeah, I'm not sure I actually came to a proper understanding of the issue, because what I tried to do was just say, if you want to customize the page title, do that in the node edit form. But Doc Wilmot said something else that I didn't understand, so I don't think I ever properly understood the issue.
Yeah, I think this might even be something that we could separate into a different problem. Like, it seemed, I mean, it might be tangentially related, and it might introduce a set of circumstances in which you can get conflicting settings and one of them wins, basically. But as far as the capability goes, I think that that could be considered just to be a separate issue, something that could be non-blocking on the implementation of this feature. Anyway, I'm really glad to see that Doc Wilmot has at least addressed all of the code feedback that I've requested there. I think it's just a matter of figuring out what we're going to do with this new issue that has arisen, whether it's something that we'll handle separately or something that we need to address here. But I'm really glad to see that moving forward. Yeah, I would say it's probably still in needs work status, though. Okay, layout relationships is issue 2134. Relationships would allow us to jump from one type of entity to another type of entity. We did have a reviewer that came in and reviewed that issue, which is fantastic. But it looks like he has encountered some white screens of death when trying to actually set up the relationship. So I think that one is very clearly probably in a needs work category. But thank you so much for giving a review on that one. I think a review bottleneck has been pretty severe, and it's very helpful to get feedback like that. Let's see, and then they had this last item, a wish list item, I would say, 2433, which would allow you to have all of the powers of panel pane displays from 777 available on all blocks that are created by the views module. That would make it so that if you could do things like override how the page are displayed or how many items were listed in a block on a per instance basis. So you drag in a block that contains a view, and then you say, I want this instance to only have 10 items, and you could drag in another one and say, I want this one to have 5. It'd be a very cool feature and would fit in nicely with relationships and page element blocks, both of which I'm still optimistic that we can complete, even though we only have 10 days left before feature freeze.
It's worth mentioning that this issue is a blocker for one of the convert things to be views. I think recent comments it is, I think.
Right, because the recent comment block lets you choose how many comments you want to display in the recent comment block.
So yeah, basically, this will add options to have some sort of exposed filters on the blocks created by views within these blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, we could work around that in other ways, but this would definitely be preferable to have it just be directly from views rather than a comment module specific thing. The item that I put on here last week seems to have dropped off, but there's a patch that a pull request that I filed regarding copy paste support inside of CK Editor, which I think is kind of like a big deal. It allows you to upload files by drag and drop from your desktop or copy paste directly from the clipboard, and it'll upload files onto the server. Let me find that issue. That one is in a state of needs review. I know I got a lot of feedback on it. Jeff, last time he looked at it, was encountering some errors that I hadn't seen. Thank you for updating that. Issue 2630, and that's in a needs review state. Or sorry, I guess it's in a needs work state now.
Yeah, I think Graham identified that if the styles folder for the images doesn't exist yet, creates an error.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
if it's there, it works fine.
Okay, awesome. Well, in that case, there's some more work to be done. Okay, hooray. Yay, I love feedback, even if it means that stuff needs work. Okay, those are the main items that we have slated for the 1.7 release. There are some less important issues and ones that are less likely to be completed. Do you guys have any additional items that we should add to the agenda for the 1.7 release? Hopefully stuff that is in progress rather than something we're going to start anew 10 days before. No? Okay. That's all I have for the 1.7 status update. If you guys don't have anything else for the product updates, then we go into general discussion and Q&A. If you guys have anything that you guys would like to ask.
Bullock had a recommendation for an issue.
Yeah, I saw the issue 2637, and I do agree that that is a 1.6.4 issue because it's a bug regarding transliteration, that it doesn't use the default site language. Let's throw that item into the agenda for the 1.6.4 releases so that we can keep track of that.
Also, there's one for 1.7.
1206, which is...
Yeah, the browse to add.
Oh yeah, this one's really cool. And I marked this one RTBC this past week because I think that functionally it's good to go. But I also marked it postponed because it's blocked on a styling issue. And so the autocomplete styling inside of a dialog has some issues that the autocomplete ends up like underneath the dialog contents. So we need to fix the styling issue, I think, first, because I don't want to introduce a new feature, especially one that will probably like be screencasting and demonstrating if it has a very blatant styling issue. And so core should always be in a shippable state. So I think that if we're bringing a new functionality like to the forefront, it needs to look good in its implementation. Even though the functionality works great, we need to fix the styling problem first. So the styling issue is 2517. And Wes has been pinged in that, and assigned, but he hasn't responded as actually having time available. So I don't think that it's something that really explicitly requires a designer's hand, though. I think it just needs somebody that's got ensuring consistency between the way that things appear. And actually, in this case, it's literally solving a bug with CSS rather than even design consistency. Okay, excellent. Olaf, thank you for pointing out that transliteration bug. I would say that that's a high priority thing for us to correct. We'll see about when we make a 1.6.4 release. We're only a little under 4 weeks, a little under a month away from release. It might be that 1.64 comes out the same time as 1.7 does. But in any case, I think that we should prioritize that fix for being in the next release, whatever it is, or whenever it is. Anything else that you guys would like to bring up or discuss?
I'd like to discuss the reference module.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've just been digging in. So there was the Ajax errors that I mentioned on that I've fixed. The problem for some of those is like when setting up the reference field, there's an option to limit the results that can be selected by bundle. So when people are going through, they're selecting the bundle and selecting user for the user one, but the problem is that the users and files don't have bundles, basically. There's just one type of them. So I changed it to check to see if a bundle key is supplied, and if not, don't let the user have that selection, which is easy enough. Comments were a bit more difficult because for comments, the thing that it's using for the bundle is the type of node the comment is on. So to solve this for now, I also disabled choosing a bundle on that field if the bundle key is not found in the database table. So like most entities, like in their base table, they have a field for bundle, whether it's labeled bundle or type or something like that. And so I'm actually checking to make sure that the key is in the table, and if not, I'm just disabling that option. So that means that you basically can't choose what types of comments to select. I don't think this is a big deal because, like, I think we should refactor the comment module at some point anyway, but like, I think it's okay if people just select, oh, I want to reference comments. I don't think people usually reference comments, but if they do, I don't think it's a huge deal to only select like comments that are on pages as opposed to comments that are on posts. Like,
yeah, Jen posted not an 80% use case, but I would say even if it were an 80% use case, that we should focus on completing the functionality that we have to make it a usable module, and then iterate on it after that. So I think that's a fine solution for the time being.
Basically, my question was: does anyone else like know of any like contrib entities that like have one name for their bundles, like in their like, you know, entity arrays, but a different name in the database table, or whether that's uniform? Like, this is a weird thing, but it's like, I think this is a good solution, just because if there is any weirdness around that, it actually checks and just disables that option based on if the database table isn't found. And I mean, I guess that seems like a fairly good solution for the time being. And then if we encounter any other types of entities that have weirdness around mismatches, it'll limit the functionality, but prevent any errors. So that sound good to everyone?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. And I think that those keys between like the database tables, like the keys that are in Hokiennity info and the keys that are in the database, I guess they could be different, but I can't see any practical reason why people would attempt to do so. I mean, like you want them to be the same. It really helps with consistency, and it's the way that every entity I've ever seen has been assembled.
Yeah. Anyway, so like, you know, that seemed to be the only thing where people were getting errors. So if people could try out the reference module again and make sure that it's all working for them, then I will go ahead and do a release.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
What?
Oh, I'm just reading out what Jen is saying in the chat.
You can talk, Jen. It doesn't sound great, but you can still hear you.
Sorry, I was muted because I was worried it was going to pick up all the background.
You sound just a bit, you know, fuzzy, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
You can talk.
Thank you, Mike.
Maybe she was just being ironic at her microphone, like, thank you, Mike.
No, that was legit.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that we'd like to bring up?
Me?
Anybody on the broadcast? No? Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it for our broadcast and for our public meeting. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, we've got 10 days before code freeze. I'm really stoked about some of the things that we've got slated, and here's hoping we'll be able to push through it. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll talk to you later. See you later.